Alright, so if you are doing your corners, just be very careful to be sure of where your corners actually are, because sometimes they're a little hard to see, especially where you joined your work. You had done a chain, so it looks a little bit funny. So be sure that you have it in the right place, because you must have your 10. That looks like my corner there. 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is correct. Just be sure to start at the right place. So there's my corner. Make sure that you have 10 going back, and then you should. So now we're going to join ours together. As I say, these two are joined, and we're going to be joining them in one corner and in one corner. I've done 2 sides, and now I'm going to join it on this side, and I'll just finish that one. But you can just do one side and then join it. It's up to you. But as I say, if this is too hard for you, please just go ahead and sew yours. It's not a problem. It'll be just as good. You just have to sew it together like that. Just make sure your sewing looks good, and it's probably best to sew where your double crochets are, so they're opposite each other. But anyway, for those that are joining, so I have joined these 3 onto each other. And now we're going to be joining our last one. Now, once again, if you're sewing it on, you don't have to worry about this part. But if you are crocheting it on, this is fairly important, because these are the 3, and I'm going to be putting the 4th one in between. You're going to be turning these around. So when you're joining them, just be sure that you've got the right sides together. You don't want to have a wrong and right side, because to unpick this will be a nightmare. Anyway, so now I've got these 3 on. So now we've got to put number 4 on, and you're going, because this is forming a circle, number 4 is going to be attached to that one and to this one. See that? So when you sewing it on, it's not a problem. You just sew it on, you know, so you have your circle here. But when you're crocheting it on, I did the first row, and then I'm going to join it onto this one. Then I'll do a plain row, and then I'll join it onto this one. So you'll see what I'm doing now as we crochet it, but just so you know, that's what I'm doing. I did one plain row. Now I'm going to do a joining row. I'm going to do one plain row, and then I'm going to do another joining row. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so as I said, I did the one row over here, and it's the same joining technique as you've been doing. Now, as I said, if you've got your little markers in, it's going to be so much easier joining. And so this is how you're going to join. You would join, when you're just joining them by themselves, you're going to do the exact same thing as what I'm showing you now, but you would just do one side. So I crochet the one and then join onto the one side. It's only for this last one that you're joining on both sides, but you do the same thing when you're joining. You just do it on the one side, and then you would join your other one over there just with the one side. So this is what you do. You're going to crochet one, well, let me take it out. You've done your 10 double crochets along here, your corner, and then you have to have, so there's 2 for the corner, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the 10th one does go right on top of, right next to this one as well. So now then you did your chain 1, and you're going to do 1 double crochet in your corner, because this is your corner, and then chain 1. Now let me just bring you in a little bit, and then chain 1. Now you got your right sides facing, and because I marked my corner there, it's going to be easy for me to go into it. So you're just going to do this. So you did your double crochet, you chained 1. Now this work is going to be facing you like this. See, this is why I said you need your corner, because I would have thought that's my corner over here. Look there, it looks like that's my corner, but it's not. That's my corner. And if you're not sure, you can say, okay, these are my corners, and I should have 10 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's my other corner. So that is correct, that this is the right spot. And now that we have that, anyway, so this work is facing this way. They're both facing the right way. You did your double crochet, you did chain 1, and then you're going to come under this. So you're going to lift this one up right by the corner. You want it to come into that stitch there. So you're going to lift it up, and you're going to come in underneath there I'm going to actually take my little marker off because it might be a bit distracting to you. Okay, so I took the marker off and I know that this is the spot I need to go into. So they're both facing right way. You're going to lift this up and come in under. Your yarn needs to be to the right of your work, and you're going to come underneath it, okay, and you're going to do a single crochet. Okay, chain 1. Now the thing that you've got to know about joining, you go from this side to this side, to this side, to this side, to this side, to this side. That's the main concept. You got to be careful that if you've been in this side, you don't go in that side again, because it's not going to line up equally. So if you've been on the one side, you've got to come back to the other side. So just remember that. And the other thing to remember is that we have a chain 1 in between all of our joinings. Okay, so we're going to be chaining 1 between all. The other thing you need to remember, okay, your yarn is always to the right of your work. Okay, so you need to know you're going from this side to this side to this side to this side, and that you're chaining 1 in between all of your stitches. The other thing you need to remember is that you've already done this last row on this motif, but you haven't done it on this side. So this side you've got to follow the pattern of what you were doing. So for example, I've got 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, 1 chain. So this side has to have the double crochet, and then you skip the 1 and you did a chain, and then you did a double crochet, skip 1 double crochet. So I've got to stay true to the pattern on this side. This side we are just joining with the single crochet, that's it. And this side you're going into each space with a single crochet. But this side you've got to do your double crochet, skip 1 with a chain, skip 1 double crochet. Okay, so watch. So now we went in there, we did our chain 1. Now remember, I'm done with that side's corner, but I haven't finished this one's corner. So you've got to do your double crochet in this corner. So you come back and you do your double crochet in that corner, chain 1. So every time you've done that, you're going to chain 1. Now I've been on this side, so I've got to go back to this side. You find your next spot. Now, this is the other thing. If you find it hard to know where your next space is, once again, get a marker or get something. It's a little annoying, but if you want to do it right and you're not sure what you're doing, use something. Let's see if we take a safety pin. And just to make it a little quicker, because the marker is hard to get in. That was the space I went into, so this is my next space. I'm not even going to close my thing. I'm just going to leave it like that. Or you can get a pen or something. And so I know where it is. Okay, so now I know that's my next space. But it sounds a bit silly that I did that, but I'll show you now. So there's the next space, right over there. That's how I went into, so this one over here. So now it's just a single crochet. You lift this up, or if you want to leave it down, you're coming under it. Yarn to the right, come under with your hook, bring up a loop, bring it through, and just single crochet. Okay, chain 1. Now we just did something there, we've got to come back this side. Now you, once again, you went into that one, put your marker there if you really don't know where your next one is. So this is where my next space is, okay? It just helps if you're not sure. Okay, now remember you've got to stay true to this one, and you've got to do a double crochet. And remember, stick to your pattern. We went into the very first one here. There's our corner with our 2. And I went into this very first stitch here. So stay true to your pattern here. Okay, I went into the very first stitch with a double crochet and chain 1, and now we've got to go with a single crochet onto this side. Now I've already got my space already because I put the marker there. Put your hook underneath it, take this out. This is very tedious this way, but if you're unsure, rather do it. Go into your next space. Put your safety pin there and bring up a loop and go through that loop. Chain 1. Now we've just been on that side, we've got to come back to this side. You've got to trace, stay true to your pattern, skip this one. You can see where you just went into over there. See, that's why it looks like you got 3 in your corner. But I don't need to remember, actually you do need to remember where your corner is, because when we're joining them now, so you want to keep your corners like you had them. So I know where my corner is. This was my corner over here. So just keep your marker where your corners are, because when we join the top part, you want to know where your corner is. So just keep putting your marker back. Okay, now you were on that side, so now I've got to do my double crochet over here. And you got to skip that one and come into the next one. Double crochet, chain one. Now we've got to go back to this side, and because I've already got my marker here, I just go underneath it. See, so there we are. You just go underneath it. Keep this to the right, and before you take it out or whatever, I just move my marker over if you need to. Bring it to the next one. So you should close it. Okay, bring your loop through, bring a loop through, chain one. Now we've got to come back to this side, so you've got to skip one and go into your next one. Now if you don't go to the right stitches, you're going to end up in the wrong place at the bottom here, so then you'll have to pull it out. Chain one, and then you're going to go with a single crochet into this one. Now I'm not going to keep my marker anymore because I know where my next one is, but that's just how you do it if you're using your little safety pin. So now I know my next one is over here, so I'm going to go under it, bring up a loop, go through both, chain one. Now I've got to do a double crochet on this one, skip that one, go into the next one, double crochet, chain one. Now we've got to go back to this side with our single crochet. So there's my next one. I go under it, bring up a loop, go through both, chain one, and skip one. There's my next double crochet, and this is what you're doing to join. So chain one. Now I've got a single crochet there, and then you go into the next one that way, single crochet, chain one. Now if you struggle, watch this over again, because sometimes by watching it more than once you can see where I'm going. Chain one. Okay, so if I lie it flat, you can see we're now starting to get our join there. And remember which side you were on. You know, I'm talking here, so I can tend to forget which side I'm on. Okay, so now I've got to join it with a single crochet onto this side. So I go under, bring up a loop, chain one, and then double crochet in this one, skip that one, double crochet, chain one, go into this one, and chain one, do this one, skip that one, go into your next, chain one, single crochet into the opposite one. You can kind of see where it was. Just pull your work like that and you can see that's where my stitch was. So it's got to be this one. Chain one. I just want to get to the end corner with you. Okay, skip one, double crochet in here. Chain one, and single crochet in this one. And now chain one, skip one, double crochet. So now we're right in our last one, which was right next to our corner. If this should have a marker, but it came out, but I know that's where it is. So your double crochet, then you chain one, and this one now is going to go into your, the one right next to your space. Okay, so it's coming in right over here. You should, so if you're doing it correctly, you should be in this one, just before your corner. Chain one, single crochet, double crochet. Now you're in your corner, so you want to, I'm actually going to mark it now. So I'm actually going to mark this one now so that I know where it actually is. So now you're going to do your first double crochet in your two chain space in between the two double crochets for your corner. So you do the one double crochet in there, one, and then you've got to come into this corner, but you're just doing a single crochet. Okay, so you're just doing a single crochet there, chain one, and then remember you've got to finish your corner in this one. So do your other double crochet, and then you're going to chain one, and then you're going to go into your next stitch, but I want to just mark my corner so I at least know where it is. And I'm doing both sides because I'm not sure which side I'm going to use for the top of my hat. If you only really need to do it on the one side, but I don't know which one, so I'm just doing it on both. Okay, and that's all that you do to join them. Now you will just continue with your normal row over here. Whoops. So now you just continue with your normal row. So it was a chain 1, and then you go into that very first one, and that's important, don't forget that one. Chain 1, skip 1, go into this one, chain 1, skip 1, go into this one, chain 1. Now go to the end of this row, and I'm going to meet you back here because now we've got to put the other side onto this one. So keep doing it the way I showed you, and I'll meet you back here. Alright, so now I've got all 4 of them connected, but now remember I've got to put this 4th one onto the first. So my last one now has to come onto this one. So we have to join it to this one to give us our circle. You have to join this one onto that one. Okay, so we did the one side, we joined it over here, we did this side, and now we're going to join it onto this side. Alright, so now to join it, you're doing exactly the same thing as you did for your other join. To go with your double crochet into the first, you're going to go with your double crochet into your corner here, and I need to mark this corner. So I'm going to mark this corner as well, and I did the 1 double crochet, chain 1, and now you're coming into this one, the opposite one's corner once again. Yarn to the right, go underneath, and bring up a yarn and single crochet, chain 1, and then remember you've got to finish this one. So it's exactly the same thing, you just joining both of them together, chain 1. And now I'm going to mark this as my corner so I know. Right, so I just marked that one, and now we just went into this one with a double crochet, chain 1, so I've got to come back into this one. And as I say, if you're not sure where your spaces are, use your safety pin. Single crochet, chain 1, now you come back to this side, and now don't forget you wanted to go into that very first stitch, which is right over here. It's not there, it's right here, you're going into that first stitch. And you're doing a double crochet, chain 1, and then you've got to go into the opposite side with a single crochet. It's a little hard for me to show you on this video, but I think you can see it's just going under there, yarn to the right and through, chain 1, yarn over. Now you're going to skip 1. The problem you might have is knowing which stitch to go into, but when you struggle, just pull them apart. Pull it apart like that. I can see that that was that third one, the first one that I did in here. So I've got to skip this one and then go into the next one. It helps when you pull your work apart. Okay, chain 1 and then go into your next one, and you're coming under. Bring up a loop, and you're just doing single crochet, chain 1, yarn over, skip this one, that's the one I went into, skip that one and go into the next one. As long as you have 10 stitches with a chain 1 in between them, you should be good. So that's really all that you do. I'm going to finish this, and I'll come back and do the last part with you over here. I'm at my last double crochet one on this side, which was skip 1 over there and go into this one with a double crochet, and then I've got to do my single crochet in the opposite one, chain 1, and then I should be right next to my corner, which I am. There's my corner, and I should be at the one that's right next to the corner. That's the last one there before you start your corner, chain 1. Now because I've already done this is just for the ending. Now if you were doing just your regular ones that you joined over here, you wouldn't have ended like this. You would have done your corner like I showed you on the other one with a double crochet, single in the middle of that, and then another double crochet in there. But because this is the last one, we've joined them all around. I'm ending up, if you did it where you did, say you were just joining yours one on one and you finished off, you ending up here. This is a different situation. Most of mine I just did one row and then I joined, so I didn't end up like this. But for the very last one you will end up like this because you've joined both of them together. And if you do end up like this, this is how you do this one's corner. You've got your beginning chain 5. So if what I'm saying is if you end up with your beginning 5 chain, you've got to still go into this one's corner on the opposite side. So now we've got to, you wouldn't do a double crochet because there's your double crochet. So you're just going to go into the 3rd chain of the 5, and I'll just do a single crochet and then chain 1, and then you've got to just do a single crochet in this one. Okay, because you've got to join this one, and then that's it. That's all that you do, and it'll still be the same as you finished with all these others. Okay, so just remember that most times my work I didn't finish off with that chain 5. I purposefully did it like that I didn't, but on your last one, because you're joining them all together, you're going to end up like that. So just remember, if you are ending up at your beginning chain, you just do a chain 1, single crochet in the 3rd one, chain 1, and single crochet into the opposite one. I challenge you to try and do this, and then you can cut off your yarn. If you've never done it before, it is a little bit challenging, but try and stick to it and see if you can do it, because it really is worth learning how to join your motifs, you know. And yeah, so now I've got them all 4 of these in a circle, and now I'm going to show you what to do next. Alright, so for your very last square that you're making, we've made these 4 that go around, and now I'm making the top square. Now I want to make the top square slightly different without changing my actual square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, instead of doing double crochet here, I'm going to make a higher stitch, which is going to change the look a little bit, but not too much. It's not going to change the actual square. And so what we're going to do is, instead of chaining 5 at the beginning here, you slip stitched into your corner, and you're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook 1, 2, 3 times, and you're going to go into that same corner, and you're going to go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2. And that's made our stitch a lot higher. So you're going to wrap 1, 2, 3 times around, go into your very first stitch, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2. And now you can see how much higher our stitch is. And you're going to do that all the way around. So it's exactly the same thing, except you're doing a much taller stitch is how you actually call it. 1, 2, 3 times around instead of your double crochet. And then go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, and go through 2. And you can see there it's making it a lot higher versus this one over here. So we're going to do that all the way around, and you're doing exactly the same thing, the same amount of stitches. That's my corner, and I would suggest that you actually keep your corners, keep marking them so you actually know where they are. And yeah, so just keep doing that, go all the way around, and I will meet you back at the end of this round over here. Alright, so this is the last square, and it's a lot higher, so we've moved this up higher. In fact, it's a much bigger square, which is what I wanted for the top. Now the next row we're going to do exactly the same as this, except you're going to be joining it on to the top of your hat. So you got 4 sides here, and you got 4 sides here, so each side is going to be joined onto one side. So don't get confused with it. Put your hat this way, okay? You're going to have right sides facing, and you're going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to go into your corner, so you're going to first chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, so just remember where your corners are. So you did your it's chain 5 you chain 5 for your first corner, then you're going to go into this one's corner, okay, and then same thing, do your single crochet, chain 1, and then do your double crochet in your corner here. So it's exactly the same thing, chain 1 and then single crochet into the next space, which is here. So you're doing exactly the same thing. Just one chain, double crochet into the very first one, which is going to be here. Now whether you actually go in here or whether you go in there, it doesn't really matter, it's up to you. And then chain 1, go into the next space, chain 1, skip the next stitch and go into this one, double crochet, chain 1, chain 1, and then you'll single crochet into the next one over here, chain 1, and then skip 1, go into the next one. So keep doing that until you get to this corner here, and I'll meet you back here. Alright, so you've got to the end of this first little stretch and you've come to your corner, and you're having to attach it now to this corner over here and going around onto that next part of your square. So what you're going to do is, I've got to come in and do one double crochet here, so I'm going to do my double crochet in there, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then the only different thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this first corner. So you're going to come into this first corner and you're going to bring up a loop like you would have done a single crochet, but don't finish it. Go into your other corner and bring up a loop. Now you've got 3 loops, and then go through all 3 of them, chain 1, and then finish your double crochet in this corner. Okay, so that's all that you're going to do that's different. I'll do another one with you so you can see, and it just brings those corners in, and now we can keep going with the rest of our work. So now you're going to do is chain 1 again, and then go into the very next space on this one, which is over here, and do exactly the same thing. So the only difference is that corner, chain 1, and then remember to go into your very first space over here and chain 1, and then go into your next space on the opposite side, which is over here, chain 1. So do this one and join it. Then when you get to those 2 corners on this one, I'll show you this again. So I'm back at the next corner, and I do my double crochet in my corner, chain 1, and then go into, these are the 2 corners now. So I'm going to do keep your yarn to the right, go into the first one. I know it's a little hard to see, but it's hard with the camera to show you. Okay, so there's your, this is your straight piece here, and this is the one that you're putting on at the top. So you're going to go into that first corner, bring up a loop, go into the next corner, just go under it like you've been doing, bring up a loop and go through all 3, and then chain 1 and finish your corner, and then keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of the top part on my hat, and so I've done, this is what's left. I'm coming back onto this side of my work, and you can see this is where your chains are. I'm going to go into the middle of those, and I'm going to bring up a loop. Okay, I'm going to keep it on there, and then I'm going onto this side, the opposite side, and I'm going into where the corner was, and I'm going to bring up a loop, and then I'm going to go through all 3 of these. And that should look fine. You can play with yours till it looks the way you want it, but that's basically it. And then I'm going to cut off my yarn, and I'm going to just bring it through and that's it. And you can't even see where the beginning of your work was. And then it'll obviously come over to this side. Now we can get rid of all these for our corners. Once it comes onto this side, I'll show you. Okay, so that's where we just finished with our join. And as you can see, you can't even see that that was the beginning part. So that works out well. Now we can take all of these out because we don't need them anymore. And it'll make our work look a little tidier. But now, all that we have left to do is to do, all we have to do now is to do a border around here. Alright, so all that's left for us to do now is to do a border around the bottom of our hat, because all the rest is done. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so to do the last part of our hat, we are so nearly finished, but if you really want to and you find this is long enough, you could leave it, but it's always better, I always prefer to put a border on mine. So anyway, you can really start anywhere. We're just going to do double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain one all the way around, and we're going to go into each one of these spaces. Now just start in any one of the spaces, so I'm actually going to just start in here. And just slip stitch through and then chain 3. So we'll start with a chain, actually chain 4, because it's chain 3 plus 1 chain in between. So you should have chain 4 for your very first one, and then you're going to do a double crochet into this next space, chain 1, double crochet in the next space, and this is all you're going to do for this round. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next space. Now these spaces are the fairly easy ones because you can see them easily. It's just these corner ones where they're a little bit trickier, but it's not even hard. I mean, this, once again, if you've done a bunch of my work, you'll see a lot of my borders are very free form, so I don't have a set amount of stitches. You just kind of do it. Now see, there's my next space, and there's another space. So this one is pretty easy. So yeah, that's all I'm going to do for this round. I'm just going to double crochet, chain 1 in each one of these. Let me see if I can find, this is the only part you might find hard. There, go in there, go in here, go in here. Now the nice thing with the border is if you ever find that yours is too loose, skip this one, you know, go in there, skip that, go in there, it's not going to be noticed. Or if you need it to be wider, you do another one in here. But I'm going into each one, so I'm basically going into each space with a double crochet and then chain 1 in between them, and it should look like this. It's a little bit of a mesh stitch. So do that all the way around, and then I'm going to meet you back here. Right, so I've come all the way around. I did double crochet in my last space, I chain 1, and then I'm going to go into the top of this chain that I had made. Alright, now what I want to do, and I ended up with 56 double crochets, so if you've been following me and doing it the size I am, you should have 56 double crochets. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but you should. Alright, now what I want to do is, now try your hat on. If you find this is too loose, the tricks with this is that to make something come in quite a bit, you would go straight with single crochet, and that'll make it pretty tight. Or, sorry, with slip stitch it makes it really tight. Single crochet not as tight, and if I did a bunch of double crochet it's going to stay loose. So a way to kind of make it tighter without decreasing anything is going to be to do some single crochets. Now obviously not if I'm going to do 5 single crochets in each space, well then you're not. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each of these spaces. So, you know, and if you don't like it, then you don't really have to do this, but I think it's going to be a nice border. So basically go around just doing 2 single crochets in each of these chain spaces, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. Alright, so I've come all the way around, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets in my last space, and then I'm going to just slip stitch into this very first one that I had made, and then I'm going to chain 1. Now It hasn't brought mine in too much because I have quite a few single crochets, because we did 2 in each. Now if you want to bring yours in more, all that you have to do is do less single crochets. So for example, I would go with 2, maybe only do 1 here, 2, 1, 2, 1. That might bring it in too much. You might want to go 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1. Play with yours and see so you got the right tension. I don't mind my hats loose, so I tend to make mine a little looser. I don't like something tight on me, so I keep mine a little bit looser than not. So this is fine for me, but as I say, some people like them a bit tighter. And if you want to make yours looser, then go ahead and put 3 in there, 2, 3, 2. Just play with yours. You know, all different sizes that I can't tell you exactly the perfect size for you. This is what works for me. And so now all that we're going to do is we're just going to do single crochets. So I'm just going to do a single crochet in each single crochet. And even here, if I'm finding that it's too much, I might just skip one and go into the next. And that will bring it in a bit more. Every so often skip one, and that'll bring it in more. So that's all that I'm doing. So I'm not going to do it all with you because all we're doing is single crochet around. So play with yours and do as many rows of single crochet as you like, and as many single crochets that suit your needs. So yeah, that's basically all that I'm doing, and I'm going to just sew in my little threads and do all of that. But that's it, your hat is now complete. So thank you for joining me in this video. I'm glad that you've joined me, and I hope that you've enjoyed making your hat, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye.